Right, so we're sitting down with Iain Mahood, world-class trainer these days. So, big fight on Saturday.
Tremendous work there.
IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World.
Especially if you're watching them on TV and then you do kind of meet them at events, you're kind of caught between, like, is he kind of a bit of a header, or is he this genuine lad? At a range, but my decision made, so I wasn't going back, wrapping this up. I'll be in the club, I'm dismantling everything. See whoever's here can help. See whoever doesn't want to be a part of it, that's okay. We've done a couple of appeal videos and stuff, different council to try and help us.
That was the stage that he's needed somewhere.
That was the big stage. This is it's going.
Right, so we're sitting down with Iain Mahood, world-class trainer these days. So, big fight on Saturday. Kind of explains us, the whole insider view of how Saturday went for yourself.
Saturday was class. In terms of boxing, it was the first time big time boxing was back in Belfast. It was a stacked card full of Irish fighters from right across the country. We had fighters over from England as well, from Frank Warren's promotional side, and obviously Top Rank in America were involved as well, along with Conlon Boxing. So it was a good night, real good atmosphere, and we had from the gym two fighters on it. One of them was Willow Hayden, who is 6-0 now, prospect on his way up. The other was, as most people would know now, is Antony Cacace. He was defending his world title on Saturday, and the reception he got was phenomenal. The support and all that he got was, I couldn't believe it. I could believe it, but do you know one of them? You knew he had the kind of backing and support, but kind of at the weigh-ins and everything, you were going, wow, this is class. So it was a successful defence of his belt. He's still the champion. So it was a good night.
So what about Willow then? I saw these, like, he's sponsored like the Black Fords and stuff, and he's tagging McGregor and things. Like, how's that came around? How's he came into your stable?
Willow came into my stable through another fight night, actually, and when we were over, I think it was Birmingham. Antony was defending his British title, and Willow was making his debut that night, and it just so happened that they needed a set of scales.
Right.
So I was in the room doing the sweat session with Anto, and we got a rap at the door, and it was Willow's dad and his wee kind of team at the time. Can we use the scales? Yeah. And if you ask Willow's dad says that he kind of just got really good vibes from the whole thing. And then over kind of the course of a year, there was different conversations going on. And kind of towards the end of the year, his dad linked in with me then and asked me would I like to come down and do kind of a session with him and see how it went. And here is the rest is history.
So I am not super versed in boxing. I'm a casual, man. I love watching the fights, but I'm not like sucked into the world. So how do you actually go from being a fucking amateur? Because I see some people who are amateurs like at 28 and I'm going, what the fuck? Do you want to turn professional here? Or what's the crack? How do you actually make that jump?
So amateur boxing and professional they're two same sport, but two kind of different games. Amateurs is kind of, while you can be well funded when you reach a certain level, it's more kind of like hobby based.
Right.
When you turn over professional, it then becomes a business. So you become a product, hence why people sell themselves in certain ways. Yeah. To try and sell in and buy to a certain audience. Yeah. A lot of it as well, anyone could turn professional.
Right.
But obviously for the exposure and the kind of good financial deals, a good amateur background is good. Winning national titles, representing your said countries at international level and stuff. So the amateur pedigree is always good. When you watch the fights, that's always what you hear. Yeah, he had a good amateur pedigree. He boxed for England or he boxed for Ireland, or that's good. Then you have the other side, the journeymen that go in who are really of no kind of profile. Right. And they go in and literally fight the kind losses. And sometimes are paid better over the scale of a year than actually the boxers
Ian, what the fuck, mate? What the fuck? Like, see, now this is something that I don't understand, but obviously you hear about it. It's people like boosting up their record, exactly what you said, fighting people no one's heard of, who are 1-8 or whatever. What the fuck's crack with that? Is that just basically to bump them up so promoters can sell them.
Yeah, in some senses. The other senses is that it's all to develop the boxer at the time, or the young kid, maybe it's termed
To handle like the pressure.
handle the pressure. The gloves are a lot smaller, your hands are bandaged, so it's while you're getting punched in the face,
Yeah.
it's a very different impact, and it's a very different game when you get past 4, 5, and 6 rounds.
Right.
You know, amateurs is all carried out over kind of 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you're going into 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 rounders.
Right. Okay.
Smaller gloves, kind of the up on the toes, works for a while, and then kind of comes down to it, but we have to grit. So these guys go in, some of them will be told at times, this would be a wee test for him. This guy here, albeit he's maybe a journeyman, but he's a dangerous journeyman. Other times they say, put him in with him, he's durable. So albeit he won't get knocked out, but he'll take him the 6 rounds, or he'll take him the 8, but it basically is all just to build him up, really.
I couldn't do that, mate. That sounds so deflating. Right, you're going in there just to be a fucking punching bag for him in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, 100%.
But again, like we say, it's business is business.
Well, that's another thing, isn't it?
That's their business. These guys, some of them are extremely fit.
Right.
And when you're actually kind of watching it, the average person maybe on the settee watching it, that could be the viewpoint. But kind of when you're in it and you're watching some of these guys operate, how they're kind of nullifying the other guy's work, or how they're just doing subtle different wee things that just spoil what the wee prospect's trying to do. It's good to know how to survive. They know how to survive. Like it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's what you'll find with this game, especially probably as the conversation goes on, that it's a mind fuck. Like it's the game's not. It's all topsy turvy.
Fuck. Well, mate, like we were saying there off camera, like it seems like boxing is very much about how many eyes can you get to watch it. It doesn't matter how good you are. How many people can you get to tune in and watch you? So obviously with the advent of YouTube boxing, like they're getting a lot of eyes and a lot of money. Like obviously you have 2 pros in the stable at the minute, one up and coming and one who's a world champion, and you're looking at these boys and going, right, what the fuck's going on here? Like they're bringing in millions, having no pedigree, no nothing, coming off a fucking YouTube channel. Yeah. So do the boys talk about this? Does it piss them off? Like, what's the crack?
It is talked about. I mean, like, if you go into boxing from a kid and you work your whole life, like some of the pro lads have done, 15, 20 odd years to try and reach kind of world title status, or that big fight with Mayweather, or boys are grafting their whole lives for that. And some guy gets up off his settee, does a YouTube video because he's a following and can kind of afford an upfront payment there, perhaps he fights it. So when it all first started coming around, what I was hearing, and kind of where I was kind of looking at it too, it was kind of a 2 fingers up the, you know what I mean, you're dedicating your life, but then as well too, it was swings and roundabouts as well when we're getting the young kids in to the club, telling them about dedication, commitment, and then stuff like that was kind of happening there, going, well, he didn't dedicate or commit himself. He just kind of made a video, attempted to learn how to box, and here he is fighting the top dogs. I had my views on it. Right. And at the end of the day, business is business. Yeah. So, like, the boys can make the money, fair play to them, but is it fair? I don't know. But there was a TikToker, a local guy on TikTok. He's very, very well known.
We'll keep names out of it, will we?
Well, we can't. Well, we can plug him here if you want. Why not? It's Dylan Klein, D Klein TV.
Right. Okay.
So Dylan approached me. Dylan, again, it's mad. The first time Dylan ever encountered me, but I didn't actually see him or talk to him at the time, was Birmingham. Same time I met Willow. Right. When we were defending the British title with Anto. So he kind of picked up a bit of a following with me after that, and then we were getting ready to go and fight, I think, in Wembley on the Fury card. That fell through, but Dylan approached me and says, Iain, I don't know what your views are on the influencer boxing and stuff, but I do TikTok and whatever, and yeah. Then he started rounding off figures. Initially, I kind of sat and thought, is this even possible? He's getting more to fight 3 rounds than what my guy got to defend his British title, really.
Fucking hell,
and then that's a fight person, then so he gets sponsorships on top of that, and then he gets a percentage on pay-per-views, and minefield. I couldn't believe it. But I had sort of said to him, come back tonight and just do a session with the lads. Just make sure this is for you, because everyone talks a good game. Everyone talks about what they could do.
Yeah.
But it gets very different when you get into that environment. And then there's punches flipping whizzing past your face.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So credit to Dylan came, he trained.
Yeah.
And I put a few testing drills on him. I just wanted to see who he was.
Uh-huh.
You know, he wasn't getting beaten up or anything, but it was just different wee physical tests.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. I says, is this still for you? 100% it is. So when Dylan came in, at the time he was signed Kingpin. There was a big card. It was your woman Ellie Brooks. She was on the card.
Right.
Simple Simon was fighting someone. So
These are influencers I don't even know me. I don't even know them.
I'm just trying to remember what he says.
Yeah.
I couldn't point them out. Tell you.
Yeah,
now,
I don't know what
honest,
to do. But
it was a big card anyway, and I set out the program for him, and I says, look, whether it's influencing thing or not, if you're going to come in here and train, you're going to train like the rest of them.
100%.
I'm not going to get. There's no easy routes here. Like,
well, your name's attached to it now as well. You know what I mean?
So credit, and this is kind of where I had a lot of respect then for Dylan after that,
right?
And where we just kind of, I was like, Dylan's the real deal.
Yeah,
he came and he trained. Then started. The big tester was going to be right. You're starting to spar next week.
Yeah,
I'm going to get you a guy that knows what he's doing, but isn't kind of elite level. Yeah, he is very much just past novice level. Excuse me. But so these kind of be the kind of guys that you're going to be fighting.
Right.
He was supposed to fight a guy from America. So we came in and we started sparring, and it was kind of the first round or two. He was on the ball, really responsive. All the training we'd done leading up to it, you could see that he was really trying to put it in.
Yeah.
And so it ended up he done a sparring. When's the next one?
Right.
So the attitude was good from the off. And Dylan is one of them. Everyone was saying to him, you're one of these influencer boxers and all and whatever. But he'd be the first to say, mate, I'm not a boxer by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm a businessman.
I'm a businessman and I'm getting a shit ton of money. You know, man. But so he was the fight there, and then that fight with the American fell through, something that the American couldn't make weight. It was the weight that the Yankee
Americans are always fucking around, aren't they?
But I think Dylan kind of was doing the stuff online, and that he was making it was looking really good.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I think it kind of played with the man's mindset a wee bit, you know. So that fight fell through, and then he's in talks here again, potentially about fighting in October.
Oh, so he hasn't fought yet?
Hasn't fought yet.
Is he still in the club at the moment?
He had took a wee break for a while, but was in touch with me all the time, and then he's called up and popped in and out of the club and stuff, and credit to him, like he donated 2 ice baths for the pro lads and all. And
brilliant.
Legend, like Dylan's a legend. Good lad.
So where is he? Is he local to Carrickfergus or?
He lives in Lorne. Yeah, he lives in Lorne.
Fuck, right. And is he mainly like TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok, but he's moving over, and he had YouTube at the start. He's moving over back into the YouTube now.
Yeah, like TikTok's one of them ones where it's much easier to get a following on TikTok, but the money's not very good on TikTok. Like you're saying, if he gets the eyes in this boxing match, happy days. But like if he goes over to like YouTube, he has a way to monetize it, because YouTube have a very solid way to make money. So like even talking about the influencer marketing or influencer marketing, that was my business head coming on there, man. Influencer boxing. Would you ever put your boys on something like that, just as like? Almost like, right, get the purse up, get the money in.
It's one of them. There's talks at the minute of a couple of professional lads fighting on the influencer shows. It was proven there with Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. They had like a world title fight before there,
and they were all paid well.
You know, they were. It's a business at the end of the day. If it's the right decision for the boys and it's doable, then look. It's 100%. Money talks, and especially to them, they're the boys getting punched in the face, like
exactly,
you know,
exactly. So who's Anto with for his promotion at the minute?
He is with Queensbury, Frank Warren. Yeah.
So how do them boys actually promote? Like, because obviously he's a world champion, but it seems to me like we were saying off camera, you need a persona in this kind of game, even if it's totally fake. Because we were saying there, you wouldn't just turn around and have a fight with someone in a bar for no reason. But whenever there's cameras rolling, these boys almost just like
Yeah.
Now you've been around it,
Yeah.
but I'm just going from what like you see from the outset.
Yeah.
It seems like the camera's on, click, change. I need to make money. We need to have a beef.
Yeah.
I need to call his mum a slag. Something needs to happen.
Anto's funny in that sense because it kind of like me. Like I was saying to you when I come in here, I would rather stand and fake a laugh here than flipping have to get in front of cameras and stuff. But in that sense, Anto, what you see is what you get with him. You know, he's so down to earth, such a genuine lad.
Yeah.
And all he wants to do is just, that's what he says. He says, I've no time for all this here. I just want to get in and fight and get paid.
Yeah.
I'm pretty like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it. Willow on the other side is young, coming up, kind of surrounded in the social media.
If he's sponsored by McGregor,
Sponsored by
McGregor's a
McGregor.
fucking header on social.
So, sponsored by McGregor. Willow kind of carries a wee persona with him.
Right, okay.
And I can see it. But so can others as well. But for him, it's good.
Yeah.
Do you know, with his McGregor connections and stuff and whatever. And so as he goes on and develops, it'll stand by him. Followers as well is a big thing. And it's just, but some of them do have a wee persona.
Yeah.
At the flip. But some of them sometimes take it too far, and especially if you're watching them on TV and then you do kind of meet them at events, you're kind of caught between like,
who's the real you?
Is he kind of a bit of a
header?
Bit of a header, or is he this genuine lad?
Yeah.
Because he seems really uncomfortable being genuine.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know? So
yeah.
It's mad. Sometimes boys can get lost in it. But look, again, it comes back to that word. Business is business. So
it seems to me like if I was brought on to help you with Anto, I'd be going, right, how can we call someone out here? Something like the gypsies. Gypsies do the videos, man. I'd be like, right, you cunt. You fucking WBC cunt. I'm calling you out. That's what I'd be saying, man.
Well, the world title fight for Anto was actually made on Twitter.
But where you fucking go, you know what I mean?
That just shows you, like, there's the promoters and all the guys that have been in the offices and in line trying to set up fights have all failed. A status on Twitter was done, and it was actually a tweet from another boxer. It was Sean McComb.
Right.
Tweeted to the champion at the time, Anto would have a crack at you or whatever. Anto replied, and
let's go.
The fight was on. Madness.
Right. I don't want. So for the casual viewer like me, what is the politics around getting these fights set up? Because it seems like when you talk about any big fight, they never fucking happen.
It's not about probably the simple term of putting it. It's not who you know. It's what you negotiate.
Right. Okay. So people don't want to put their business at risk if they're a top dog.
Yeah, sometimes, and that's kind of the downside at the moment to the top level boxing. Sometimes now there's too much money involved for people to take risks. So
can the they're not called, what do you call the people who run the belts like the WBC and stuff?
The governing bodies, yeah.
Can they not force a fight? Can they not be like, you have to fight this person?
Well, it's been, you would have seen it and stuff, especially they've done it with Tyson Fury, and he's not the only one. But they kind of give you a window. You have to make a mandatory defense or between a certain time. If not, we can strip you of the belt or whatever.
So they can't pick who actually they put in front of you? Well,
there's rankings in boxing. And so once you get to kind of number 2, number 3, number 2, you're kind of there in the mix.
Yeah.
So you're kind of usually, it's a fight away from, okay, number 1 contender now, this fight has to happen. There is no one else for any of these two guys to fight.
It doesn't make sense at that stage.
Yeah.
And they're like, you have to fight this person.
You just have to fight. Them. Yeah. And then it comes out again, the business side again, not enough money.
Well, here, talking about not enough money, we'll go in a bit of a taboo one here, because now, during his comeback, I'm talking about Tyson Fury. During his comeback, it was all, don't care about money. I want to do it for mental health. And all you see now is a fella talk about money. It's so disingenuous. It's actually making me be like, his personal brand is being like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
1 minute you're all about God and not about money and giving your purse away that you never gave away.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I won't fight anyone for less than 100 million or whatever it is. It's like, right, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is boxing just becoming this fucking cash cow? Like, where's the people who want to actually fight boxing, for legacy?
Professional boxing it all is cash cows. Legacies are few and far between now. So
But
they are.
it'll be 20 years from now when you're well out of the game and you look back, it's going to be, I didn't fight that guy,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fight this guy, and you're going to sit there as an old man going, I'm a fucking rat. You
Yeah.
can always make more money, mate.
Yeah.
You start a
That's
podcast when you're 50 and make all your money, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
I just see it as it's a lost chance to really solidify your name in history.
Yeah.
Because even think like the Ali era, a lot of them people are still remembered, mate.
It was a different ball game back then. Even in the later weights, you had Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Leonard. It was just different. You go back and watch the fights. Even Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank. Just money obviously mattered, but it wasn't.
They were just
you and me
brawlers,
have a
mate.
beef. Like,
Yeah.
look to the promoter, get this fight on. And it was just, but the mindsets you can even see in it is different. But it's,
Yeah.
I think society now as well too. Society's soft now,
It very, very
and
much
you can
is.
just kind of see, you can kind of see the change. If you go back through the eras of boxing, you can see it just kind of. It's still the same sort of gladiatorial sport that it was, but I don't know. It's just you can just see a wee bit of a difference. My granddad, actually, this is a funny one. When he used to box, and he used to say to us when we were young, boxing's not what it used to be.
Fuck.
And I used to sit and think, how's it not? Like your man just knocked him out. It's only now that at that time, I never thought I would be where I am now, but then some wee things that kind of come back to you at times, you know, when you are sitting watching things, especially like with the YouTube stuff and all coming through now and the influencer, you're like, Grando was right.
Get your pipe out there, mate. The farmer
Get
hat.
the slippers on.
Fucking boss
This
is not the
what
same here.
Not what it used to be, for frig's sake. No.
Well, here talking about that, I have a vivid memory of the first time I actually ever watched UFC. It was with you. You and your mate were watching it,
Right.
and it was back before UFC had a fucking dime to their name.
Right, okay.
And I remember watching that, going, "This is rough as fuck."
Yeah.
This is whenever people were bleeding out on the canvas, and they were still going. I was like, "This doesn't seem right."
Yeah.
And it seems like you've almost always had kind of a knack for kind of combat sports.
Yeah. It's kind of.
Because you were, just so people who are listening and watching, you used to do kickboxing, amateur kickboxing, isn't
Yeah,
that right?
I boxed and kickboxed as well. It's made a wee transition kind of as I got older.
And a lot of kickboxers ended up going into MMA.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. It wasn't really a route like I ever kind of thought about going, but boxing was always kind of at my heart.
Yeah.
So I started out boxing from I was young, and then just different things in life and just things I kind of transitioned over into the kickboxing and whatnot to try and do my own thing.
Yeah, I
as
remember
well,
you shared a poster at the Clarion or something. I go,
Yeah.
go on, Ian.
yeah, that's right. But look, listen, I had a great wee journey through my kind of competitive days, and actually then as I got older, I took a year away from it, and the plans was that I was going to come back and maybe have another couple more and see where I could go.
Yeah,
If I could go nowhere, I was happy to call it a day. I had the wee family and stuff then, so.
yeah,
But then that never came to be
yeah.
because I had an accident which rendered me
Yeah, the fighting career's
out
done.
of it. The doctors told me I couldn't box again.
Right.
So that kind of, unbeknownst to me at the time, led us down the road, obviously, that we're on now.
It's a
so
blessing,
living- Yeah.
Little did you know at the
life's
time,
funny.
eh?
Life's funny.
It is, mate.
Life's funny, and then it's only when you you put the pieces together of kind of that chapter before. So I kind of look at it like when I had the accident, I didn't at the time, but it's took me a wee while to understand this. It was kind of like that everything that I needed to progress in the next kind of stage of my life or my journey or path I was going to go down. I'd accumulated everything I needed prior.
Yeah.
So kind of this wee bit's done.
That was like your base of knowledge.
Yeah,
That was
because
like your
life
knowledge.
completely changed after that. And you know, if I had told anyone or anyone would have said to me then, a couple of years time you're going to be sitting there, you'll have a world champion, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that. That probably went.
I doubt
Yeah, I would dream of them things when I was young, mate. But you know what I mean. But I've kind of wrote my own scripts all the way through life.
Yeah.
And I've held on to an idea that I've seen and a vision that I had.
Yeah.
A lot of people were jumped when I was young. I never mind. I don't know what he's doing. But
doubters, mate.
their
Fuck 'em.
kind of perspective was here,
Yeah.
but I could see here.
Yeah.
And I always like to test myself, but I always just kind of knew that I can do this just a wee bit better, or I can just move a wee bit different.
Yeah.
And you don't understand my logic, so it's impossible to do.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of, again, the universe and life has linked different things and put different things in front of me and around me. And at the time, I wasn't aware of anything, but like the likes of affirmations and stuff, this only came kind of to me after, like, post my accident.
Yeah.
And it was actually my brother said to me, and my partner at the time as well had says, like, you have been doing these affirmations your whole life, more so my brother, because he was around it when we used to live in Spain. I was making makeshift boxing rings in our garden and pulling the kids off the streets that had problems with each other, training them through the week.
Promoter Iain here.
Yeah, training them through the week, and then on a Saturday they used to come to the house and we used to flip and squash the beef.
YouTube boxing before YouTube started.
Yeah, but it's always, that's what he says. He's like, Nathan said to me, you have seen yourself in this position your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's only kind of now that it's happening that everyone's sort of went, fuck. A couple of people have went very quiet and I don't see or hear of
Right.
anymore, that were very quick before. They're nowhere to be seen now. But
I love this, man.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the same thing in my life, and see the beauty of what you're saying about affirmations. Affirmations are real, mate. Now
they are 100%.
I'm going to give a story just of a few days ago, because people see me now with a nice flash car and a bit of money in the bank, blah blah blah, and a family, and they think, oh, this shit's easy. This shit isn't easy. So I had a phone call to make the order. It was a sales call, and I hate speaking on the phone. I fucking hate it. I'll go meet you for a coffee.
Yep.
I'll walk into your office building and talk to you. I'll meet you at your place, no problem. I just don't like the phone. I don't know why. I never fucking have. I used to get my mum to ring the doctors for me. So what I had to do is, I said, right, fucking got a page in front of me and wrote down 10 times, I'm a 7-figure-a-year man. And then the 10th one, I rang him. Yep. And then we've got a meeting for tomorrow. And see that affirmation, it confirmed to me, I know who I want to be, and the person I want to be will make that fucking phone call and be confident. And if you do that every day, you'll just trick your mind into being that person.
Yeah.
I don't care what other people say to you. I don't care if you're living in a tin box.
Yeah.
If you think that, other people pick up that energy, man.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? If you turn around and say, I'm a professional boxing trainer and I'm going to have a world champion, who are you, mate?
Yeah.
And then look at you now, I go, who are you, mate?
Yeah, I know. It is mad. We would deal obviously with a lot of kids from kind of the community here and afar as well. Would come in and out through the club. You're a boxing coach first and foremost, but then you're a mentor, like a stand-in parent, sometimes a therapist.
Yeah.
You give them different advice on whatever, but I am always a big one for a kid comes in, I really want to do this, and he's saying to me that I can't. So, especially with the older kids, the younger kids don't quite get it, but it's more the older kind of 16, 17-year-olds that are becoming young adults.
Yeah.
And it is one of the things I always say, if you're talking about your ambitions and what you see for yourself, and people around you are telling you it's wrong, stop talking to them.
100%.
Stop. These people are not people you talk to. In terms of that,
Yeah.
Find a group that sees over the fence with you.
Yeah.
Or kind of sees in the distance that you're looking at, and surround yourself by them and that energy, and just keep going.
Yeah, there's a quote that comes to my head whenever you say that. It was I can't remember his name. I think it's something Penna. But his quote is, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future."
Yeah,
which is very true.
It is, yeah.
Even where we are now, which is Woodburn, which is it's a small council estate in Carrickfergus. Like, you see people and they just go into their kitchen and the party every weekend or the party every week, and you go. And it's all the same group, and they all bang fucking cocaine in them, etc., etc. And that's their life, mate.
Yeah.
And if one of their friends go, I'm going to start a business, they go, I fucking dead on. Take her nine there, mate. You know what I mean? That's when you need to get away from that.
Yeah.
So I'll actually go even one further than that and say, so my little brother deals with a cocaine addiction, and the people he hangs around with are all people who are on benefits. And this is the venomous fucking cycle here. But he left school, and his older friend by about 5 years, he was about fucking 24, and he was just leaving school, so he would have been like 16, 17, and he had the system rigged, where he was getting DLA, his house paid for, and he has money for his drugs, has money for his drink, and that's what my little brother was hanging around, and he thought that's normality. So he started saying, how do I get DLA? How do I get my own house? How do I get fucking money from the government? And then what do they do? Because as men and women, we're purposeful creatures. We need purpose. So if your purpose is, I get everything paid by the government, what do? You numb yourself. That's why they all go around each other's fucking houses, bang gear into them, and just feel sorry for themselves. And it's just venomous cycle, mate. So, I mean, for anyone out there who is in them kind of groups, you need to fucking pull yourself away from it and get new friends.
Yeah, 100%.
Get people with a bit of fucking ambition in their life.
100%, because them new people are the change makers.
100%. I know. Now, I have my legacy friends I've been friends with for a long time, but a lot of them aren't in the same world I'm in. So I've made new friends who are in that world, and I'll talk about business stuff with them friends, but I'll still go out for a drink. But
100%.
whenever it comes to business, am I going to take their advice and all things? No, because they're not living it. They're not in that frame of mind. It's like if you went in the fucking, for example, the barber shop, and the fucking everyone starts going, Ian, you should do this and you should do that. It's like, I did on, mate, but they don't fuck all. You know what I mean?
We get that. So a funny one is I get that. I was out not that long ago. Well, it was before the fights, before camp, and a guy had a bit too much to drink, and I was kind of, we were out and about, and he had come over. He had recognised me and stuff and whatever. You're flipping the boxing coach and all, yeah. And he went on then to tell me this, that, and whatever else. But it's the same as well when I hear other people talking about different kind of like titles that other boxers own. It's kind of one of them again, that like, your world title, mate, is 6 pints in the Chinese. When did you ever get out? When did you ever take a risk in your life? Or when did you ever take a chance? Do you know what I mean?
Fuck's sake.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, holy fuck. Oh, dude. So here, tell us about evolution then, because evolution's a good one, because I can remember kind of whenever Nathan, so just everyone who's listening, Nathan's your brother. Nathan had mentioned that you were going to start this boxing club. I was like, fucking hell, where's this came from? And
you actually shot the first promo video for it.
I did,
you did.
When you were up at the Newton Abbey, the Newton Abbey spot.
We were up at Mollusk. The club opened, Wait till we get our hoodies.
Shit, fuck, that's right. So how did this all come about? How did evolution come about?
So again, I had the accident. Told me I was never going to box again, so I went through a wee bit of a...
What was this accident? Was it like a motorcycle accident?
Motorcycle accident.
I knew straight away. I didn't even know that, but it just clicked.
Motorbike accident. They told me due to the injury that I wouldn't box again and whatever. I was starting to get myself down into a bit of a rut. I had to learn to do a lot of things again. So what I needed and what I felt like my body was craving for was to be in that kind of surrounding or environment. Stick to what you know. People laugh at me when I go out to a restaurant. They can nearly say, I bet you're having this. Yeah, stick to what I know. The last time I ordered something different, I hated it and it was rotten. I had to go and get a McDonald's after. So stick to what you know. So I knew no one knows your own body better than you. So I kind of knew what I needed. In terms of my coordination and whatever else. I just needed out of the house. It's the longest I'd ever been in the house and all. And just, so we had found a wee place and we went way out of the way from everyone. And I just started to do wee bits and pieces for myself. Nathan was with me, bits and pieces for myself. Once I kind of started to get myself back up and running, people were in the wee gym we were in and approached me. How we do this and that with PTs in here? So I was doing pad work, and it was very basic at the time because I was trying to get my coordination back up to scratch. They don't do pads like that. I says, that's because this isn't pads for fitness. This is, we're like trying to drill stuff.
Yeah.
See, if you ran a class, I'd pay you. I would come to a class like and thing.
Light bulb.
Oh, right, okay. Not even at that time.
Right.
So I was like, oh, right, okay, happy days. At the time, again, it wasn't anything. It wasn't in the forefront of my mind, like, open the club. I was just, get yourself right. Get yourself fit.
Yeah.
Because I was probably in the worst shape I'd ever been in years. We go back a long time. I was always, when you were all young, I always would have been training and stuff and whatever. So it was the young fittest I'd been. I'd lost an awful lot of weight. And like I looked sick and I knew it did. Do you know what I mean? And that was annoying me.
Yeah.
So again, went back and back. Then the owner of the building
come
over, called me one night. I was in training. Can I have a word with you? Instantly I went, oh no. Thundered over. I don't know why I went, oh no, but you know, just one of them, you're like, oh fuck. Thundered over, and he says, talking to a couple of lads there, he says, you've looked into you a wee bit, you used to compete yourself. Yeah. He says, I will lease you the building.
Right.
Like, I'll lease you the unit. Take a risk. And as soon as he looked at me, it was like that. Then it was at the forefront of my head, and this kind of went, yeah, well,
You got the fuck it moment, man.
yeah. But I always kind of had the fuck it button within me. It was like a friend of mine. He's passed away now, Tony. He talked to me. I never forget it when I was young about the fuck it button, and it was in terms of boxing. And he's like, see, sometimes you just have to say fuck it.
Yep, I totally agree.
And go. So I did. I had my fuck it moment. Then I was like, yeah, fuck it. So it started out 2 nights a week, Tuesday and a Thursday night, and it started he says, do you want to start next week? I mean, no, because I knew I'd made a decision, and now I got to go back and now try and figure this out.
Yeah.
At the time, I was still very scatterbrained. So went and ended up, we got a wee program together and stuff, and says, right, we'll open 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was. As soon as he opened, I was dead nervous, mate. What if no one turns up and it's just kind of like the 3 or 4 guys that like to watch me train and like watch us train? Mate, you couldn't get moving in the place.
Brilliant.
Could not get moving in the place. The first senior that ever walked through the door in the end, he was our first champion, was a childhood friend of mine, Ronnie McDowell. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Just down or down. Was boxing on the night. I hadn't seen him in years. Whoa. And that, like, I was just
attraction.
But it just brought people. But again, when we talk about circles,
Yeah.
it brought the right people around me at the time.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of like darkness and venomous people around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I opened the club, it brought it brought a different kind of circle in. Or I had my positive people in my life, but this cemented where obviously the journey would lead us to, like where we're all sitting here now and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was okay. Then it was 2 nights isn't enough, and the place isn't big enough.
Right.
Went to the boss. I need a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is the standard club nights. No problem, man. And see, to be honest, the guy Pete, he gave me everything I needed.
Yeah. Revolution Fitness, was it?
Revolution Fitness, yeah. Pete gave me the reins, and whatever you need. Take whatever you need. Let me come in and bring guys in, 1-to-1s and whatever. And it really, he did, like, Pete's a big part, but his support was great to help build it. Then they moved from them 2 units into a bigger unit. Good business move for him.
Yeah.
Massive on the gym. But where the club was going to be put was completely downsized. So again, we'll talk about business. I knew what I was paying for the size of what I had and what was there.
And he was looking the same for the smaller
He
unit.
was the rent would have been more for smaller. No heating. Had to walk in and out of the gym for different things.
Yeah.
So it kind of came one of them moments where you kind of go, I knew, because I knew what I had invested into the club and invested into trying to build it. A couple of kids were coming in, really relying on it. Well, our first season was great. With kids won everything. Three of them represented County Antrim. The other one represented Ulster against America. Went to the All Irelands, and it was a really good first year. So there was dependency for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And I was like a dog with a bone. I was develop this. I want to push. So then there came another risk take. Start looking for somewhere.
I can remember this because Nathan said to me, "Do you know anywhere that's renting? Because we're not going to be in there anymore or whatever." And I was like, "Whoa!" And it was like almost like Evolution isn't going to be no more. Like it was almost like that moment. It seemed like.
Well, that moment was very nearly came. I'll not jump forward too much, but we got a place in Ballyduff.
Yeah.
Secured it. Near enough renovated the whole. It was an upstairs unit and all. We were kind of sold a pup. The landlord had sold it on to another landlord, sold us a pup, and then the other landlord just wasn't.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't the same agreements.
Yeah.
And then there was problems became then. And I remember standing on it one night going, I have literally put my savings into this and invested everything. And everyone's complaining. We're bringing kids in off the street. We're doing, the riffraff's coming back to this estate and all. This was this stuff. And I was going, people don't really understand what's actually happening in here.
Yeah.
And then COVID came.
Right.
This was the big hitter. COVID obviously happened. That was a shit show for everyone.
I know.
I was going into the club again. Dependency for children over COVID. We actually, myself and I know one or two others that were involved as well, but actually prevented a couple of suicides
Fuck.
over COVID because of people didn't have that outlet. They didn't have that kind of the family feeling that they would have had coming in and being comfortable to speak about things.
Yeah.
Maybe you're directing and guiding them through something in their life. Then COVID hits, it all shuts down and everything spirals. Where do you go?
Yeah. It's horrible for mental health.
Madness. So this is obviously, very nearly everyone kind of took a dip, but I started to lose my kind of patience and temper with people.
Yeah.
Because reached out to the landlord and says, look, in order for us, we're a non-profit organisation, in order for us to pay the rent, our doors need to be open. And what doesn't help is that I'm coming in here on my own and setting up, like we were doing, what do you call it, the FaceTime sessions?
Yeah.
Or like on Zoom
Zoom like
sessions.
Group training and stuff.
So we were doing all that, all the kids were linking in. And there was neighbouring tenants and like neighbouring people around the area were calling the cops. He's
my fucking goodness.
Breaking the law. He's in the gym. He shouldn't be in the gym. And the police approached me a countless amount of times. But there's only so far your tolerance can go.
Yeah.
And then there came a time, then I just went, you know what? The hell with it all.
Fuck.
And it was, it came out, we need to move and whatever. Get out of here. It's not going to work here and whatever. Then there was a few other things done as well. But that's their stories for another time. But COVID was starting to kind of lapse at this stage. We got through, we done wee outdoor sessions and stuff, and even at that, people were ringing, there's a group of 7, there should be 6. Or
fucking Nazi Germany, mate.
Yeah, but our groups were big, but in the COVID times, we had it contained to the regulations. Everyone had their kind of 2 metre marker. They all had cones to work in, and we brought them in different sessions.
It's mad to think about this.
But
looking back now,
it's
my
crazy.
goodness.
It's crazy, but again, it's resilience. Resilience had a big part to play in it, and again, thank God it did, because at that time there was no professional boxing with Evolution or whatever. People were talking to me and nudging and trying to push people my way at the time, but for me, it kind of wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm just not right. Jesus, so
you were basically kind of trying to keep the ship afloat at that stage.
Lucky to have a club here. In a month, you know.
Yeah.
Then it hit. I said, you know what, lads, I'm wrapping this up. No, you can't. I'm wrapping this up. Had arranged that, but I had my decision made, so I wasn't going back. Wrapping this up. I'll be in the club. I'm dismantling everything. See whoever's here can help. See whoever doesn't want to be a part of it, that's okay. We've done a couple of appeal videos and stuff for council to try and help us.
That was the stage that he's needed somewhere.
That was the big stage. This is it's going. I my own money was disappearing.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to put my own money and all the savings that I had in to try and keep this thing alive. But then there was no kind of end to COVID. We're like, where does this stop? Yeah. You know, this was supposed to be 2 weeks now. We're in nearly 2 years. It was
ridiculous for all business. And you were a non-profit, but it was just fucking ridiculous. No one would tell you anything.
No. So it then we got, how did that one come about? A unit in Carrick and whatever. I didn't open the club in Carrick at the start because there was 2 other clubs in Carrick at the time.
Yeah. And
again, I've never been one to try. I always know what I want, and I kind of know where my abilities are and how far I'm willing to push. But I'm not interested in jumping in front of anyone.
Yeah.
Or, pushing my way in and look at me.
Yeah.
So that's why the club, I was happy enough to keep it out of Carrick. I don't mind going to Newton Abbey. It's fine, great. And the club was built there, really.
Yeah.
Good. And I have big appreciation to everyone that moved with us and stuck with me while I was there through the COVID stuff too. That's what makes a club. That's a family. So this premises in Carrick became available. It used to be there was a boxing club in it before. I think it was lying empty for like 2.5 years or 2 years or something like that.
That's West Street, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So met with the landlord, and it was just like hemming in hand. But my tolerance with people was like, why can no one just say yes or no?
Yeah.
Like, what is all this hemming in hand? So it was back and forth. Look, can I at least come and see the place? So I was near enough at my wit's end. So me, my brother, one of like the other trainers in the club, Gail, who's been with me from near enough day one.
Right.
And Ingrid went and viewed the place. It was just an open space. It was empty. Right, okay. So then I tried to talk to the guy about money and whatever, and it was just constantly like I was banging my head off a wall.
Yeah.
So we came away one of the times, and I said, "You know what? Forget it." And it was Gail O'Connor is the saving grace in this whole thing. Like, honestly.
Wow.
Because I was kind of having a bit of a rant and whatever, and you're always kind of trying to lead from the front, so everyone's always kind of looking to you. And I was one of them ones that I will lead from the front, so I will do it. I'll not just sit here and tell you to do it. I will do it. You can watch me do it, and trust that when I say I know how it feels, I know how it feels. Even in life, I try and carry myself a certain way, the correct way for all the wee up and comers. Set examples, lead from the front.
Yeah.
So I was starting to flip really good. Do you know what? I'm flipping. And then it was like starting to tell myself, do you know what? If you walk away from this now, you opened the club, you had this champion, that's this, that, you've done this, you've done that, whatever. You know what? You've done it. You can't sit and say what if now, you've done it. And Gail O'Connor, I can remember this conversation like it was yesterday. He turned around, and Gail never gets angry with me, right? Me and Gail have he's a really, really good friend of mine, but he like gritted his teeth at me yesterday. But he did, it was just, for a wee change, it was like sitting back in the corner of a fight again, and the coach, it was like, I needed that chat.
Yeah.
And he just turned around and he says, "Are you done?" Because I was shouting.
Because you were giving up? You felt you were giving up?
I says, "Yeah, I am done." And he goes, "Right, now, I'm going to speak." I mean, there's no talk. And he goes, "I thought you said you were done." But I was like, "Right, go ahead, talk to me." And he like gritted his teeth. I'll never ever forget it. And he said, "See if you give up on this now. See every single kid and every like mentally unstable person that is relying on you. You're just fucking them back to the street and back to their problems. See if that's what you want to do, fair enough." That's all he said. And I just remember looking at him, and I just said, I was like, "One more phone call. I'll ring once more." And he went, "Right. And see if it doesn't go, then I'm happy to accept your decision. But the kind of the fight's not over. You've another couple of rounds left. Don't be quitting on yourself." And it was the wee flipping thumping the ribs or the wee kind of G up I needed. So rang the landlord, and I was like, "Look, this has been going back and forth now for ages. Is the issue this or that?" "Oh, this." Right, so why couldn't you have told me this months ago? Now how do we fix it? 2 days later, Gail, me, Nathan, same wee group went down and we got the keys.
Fuck, just
Right?
like that?
Work started. So it was okay, everyone, we've got the club. And it was like mental. Just everyone that you kind of trained and like looked after and stuff all turned up with their wee paintbrushes and their wee paint tray. "Where do you need us? What do we need to do?"
Love it.
Couldn't believe it. Whoa, right? My friend Stephen and Christian, they own Nico's Pizza and Pasta up on the Lisburn Road.
Been to it.
And yeah, lovely.
Lovely spot.
They also have a takeaway as well. I think it's on the Ormer Road, I think. I should know. But they were coming down, like driving the whole way down. How many of us is there? There's 15 of them. Right? Stephen would have rocked in with pizzas and everyone was there kind of from morning to night just to get this thing going.
Yeah.
And just get it right the way we want it. Alan Neal, one of the young girls that were trained, he came down and built us up the changing rooms. Gail went to B&Q. He had a van. It was just a cracker wee
Everyone
operation,
chipped in.
but it was good to see everyone like clumping in. Then lo and behold, Anto comes back into kind of my life again.
So how did this happen then? What do you mean, like he came back? So did you know Anto before?
I knew Anto when we were young in the amateurs.
Right, okay.
And me and my cousin would have like went up to his club at the time, Oliver Plunkett, for like sparring and stuff. And I remember it was a funny story when we still laugh about it now. Anto was kind of probably taking us around at the time, but he hit me when I was about 14, maybe 15, and he clocked me as right uppercut. See, I can still see it. Boof. And I shit you not. See, for a week, I understood Chinese. I like in my head, I was like, English is foreign, you know. But so that was okay. Then obviously life happens and whatever. We went our separate ways, but we would have kind of like mingled through the amateur circles, enter club sparring and whatever else. and we've seen each other at amateur shows. So fast forward a good lot of years, Stephen and Christian were actually one of Anto's sponsors. So they were.
It's on my door.
Sounds like it.
Guess 2 seconds.
Yeah, freeze frame.
Who is not my door this time of night? You could make it worse time. No, I'm in a podcast, but I'll drop the tag over to you right after, right? Sorry about that, Ian.
You're all right. You're all right.
It's be funny with the podcast. My mate needs his passport identified, and I'm signing it for him. So I'll do that for him after. He couldn't have picked the worst time.
I know. He timed it well to make an entrance.
So you were saying there, Anto, you were in the amateur circles together, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And you tied back in.
Tied back in through it was so Stephen and Christian were actually a sponsor of Anto's at the time. And he had kind of says, so to Anto down to have a look at the new facility. Yeah, it'd be class. So then enter Anto. He came down, had a wee look at the place and whatever. You mind if I train away? No, work away. So he done that, and then it was a bit of we're jumping in and out of different things. I was kind of in the background a few times for a couple of his fights. I would have went up and watched, seen him training and whatever and whatnot. What do you think? And I'd maybe give my opinion on a couple of things. So then when he came in to the club, that was kind of, you come down here and train, mate, whenever you want. If you need to use the gym, work away. There was never any talks of training or whatever then. Situations started happening, obviously, then, and he came in, right, I'm going to fight, defend the British title and whatnot. That fell through for him, as most of the fights at that time were doing for him. He had a run of bad luck. So I didn't see him for a couple of weeks, and then the gym was in full flight again, and I heard his wee laugh outside. I said, Sando, thundered out, how do we look? And he was sitting in the reception on the chair.
Yeah.
And he said, after the fight Woodstock again here in a few weeks. Dead on. And I just remember looking at him, wee pudgy face and whatever. I mean, checked your weight? Nope.
Eating the Nikos.
So up I went anyway, and that was kind of it.
So it wasn't even like, I want you to train me. It was, look, I have a fight, and you go.
He had the fight in the period of weeks. It probably had his mind made up. But he had come back and got kind of train. Yeah. There was a few, we had a wee conversation. He needed to pack up and get away. What he was looking for, I could sort.
Yeah.
I can do that. Pack your bags and leave tomorrow, if that's what you want. Or pack your bags and leave on Sunday. No problem. And he did. And that was our first proper camp together.
Right.
He came down and he stayed here. Stayed out in a wee woman's house that looked after me when I was young. Still looks after me still, wee Bernie. It was weather was outside now, roasting hot.
Out there.
Which was a natural kind of sauna. So I good with the elements and all. It was a real good vibe around that camp. He stayed in the caravan, one of the caravan, and just get away. So he was able to stay in the caravan and drive. Right. And then had access to the house and whatever, but had his own space if he needed it. Right. And then it's kind of the rest is history. Then it was flipping. He got on TV and stuff that were saying it was a career best performance from him and whatever else. Then from there was a few other letdowns. Jump about a year later, and he's fighting for a world title. Love it. So, does he go in the camp and not see his family? Then is that so? Yeah. Well, it's not that he doesn't see them. So he would come down kind of Monday to Friday, right, or Monday to Saturday morning, right, and then head back home. Come down Sunday night, or whatever. And is that kind of like to be around kind of other alphas and get himself in the right headspace? Well, what you have to understand, yes and no. What you have to understand is that when you see the regime and the rigorous kind of lifestyle that he has to live, to one, get his weight down, two, mentally kind of change his perspective and gear it up to fight another man. Yeah. It's hard, and then going to training, coming back, maybe it's a bad session, a real flat day, sparring maybe wasn't great. Do you got to come home to be then super dad, super husband? Go and get me a shopping. Go and get, there comes a time where fighters do have to, at that level, I think, have to make a break for their own self. Everyone that's around them, they're fighting for you.
Yeah.
You know, they're fighting for their wee family, so that wee sacrifice of being away is repaid. Obviously, one, when the career ends and they can retire with something, or two, when they get the win and the family can all be around and it's a nice week, you know?
Yeah.
But the fighters need to, for that, they need to be away. Even Willow now, Willow comes up and stays in Carrick. He stays up here kind of 7 to 8 weeks out from a fight. He'll come up and stay and go home on a Friday night. Or he would go home on a Friday night, gets the train back to Dublin and comes back then on the Monday morning. But he even says that the break out, actually getting away from his own kind of surroundings, putting yourself kind of in uncomfortable situations, forging yourself in the fire, really.
Yeah.
You know? And with Anto, I would do the same. Again, you lead from the front, so like I always started as I meant to go on with Anto. So when Anto goes into camp, I have no qualms about packing my bags and going with him. I go and I stay with him. See, like I always try and go through it as much as I can with him.
Mm.
So I would go and live with him and stuff. I know him well enough now to know that when I'm reading the room, shoot you on up the house, sure I'll see you after, and I'll shoot the garage and get a drink, or I'll hang about another wee hour in the club.
Yeah.
Let him have his wee kind of decompressing moment, or his wee whatever emotional moments, or whatever he needs.
Yeah.
We'll regroup again. But that's how we started, and that's how it's always been. Well,
so how does the camp actually begin? So you get given your opponent, and then like what's ground zero?
sometimes there's indicators, so you kind of have an indicator, like, right, Josh, they're talking about you fighting here in kind of August time. Who's the opponent? Don't know yet, but the venue's been booked. The headline is massive big names, Ali and Fraser, or Fury and Usyk, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they're looking. So you kind of have your scope of, okay, well, I've got 14 weeks, or I've got 12, or I've got 10. Normally in between camps, fighters would kind of take over.
Yeah.
So you don't need a gym to get your coat on and go for a run.
Right. Okay.
So professional athletes will always, you would find that they'll maintain like a base fitness. So
what are you saying? When they're not in camp, they're on their summer
When
holidays
they're
here?
when
They're on their summer holidays, go for walks?
When they're not in camp, I mean, when you look at it too, they put themselves through a lot, and a lot of fighters reward themselves well as well. Like,
Right,
you just, again, like, look at some of the top names.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Andy Ruiz won the world title and then flipping went nuts.
He went very nuts. The money went to his head.
But again, so you would always kind of carry a base fitness. Each have all clubs around them, so they would kind of pop in, pop out, week sessions here, just maintain a moderate bit of fitness. And then kind of from a certain period out, you would say, right, now's the time you got to pack up and come down here, and this is where it gets serious. So a lot of it at the start is more about kind of time. So it's all about, you build their engine kind of for the distance, start building their strength as it kind of gets closer. They're not going to get any fitter once they reach a certain point. So now it's all about maintaining weight and a few other things. So it's kind of, there's a mad science behind it. So there is.
So do you use, like, for example, would you watch kind of tapes on like people's flaws and be like, look, whenever he does this, he goes down to his right, make sure the clock on with a hook, blah, blah, blah.
This is one of them. One of them.
I'm not saying give you your secret sauce here, by the way.
No secret sauce. It is, their film study does happen. I kind of do that. Some fighters like to sit down and watch it. Willow will watch a little bit with me, because if I watch it, I would say things, but then I would show him.
Right.
Where Anto kind of goes, if you watch the guy, what do you think?
Okay.
Well, I think this is the way you need to do this. These are the shots we maybe need to look for. Do you want to have a look? No. He'll probably watch about 20 seconds. Well, if he watches a minute, a whole minute of his opponent from start of the camp to the end, that's all. That's his amount, really. Fighters fight their opponents anyway, regardless of what you show them or what you tell them. They fight them in their own heads every night. The closer the fight gets. Yeah. So usually when they get a look, they kind of have an idea for shape, and then they have 100 fights more in their head. Some nights they get up and they go, "Jesus, I got fucking sparked out last night."
Is it one of them ones where you have the dream and you're throwing a really slow punch, just like a pillow?
Yeah.
You're going, fuck.
But fight them 100 times. Where Anto I think he has just a wee bit of faith in like who's around him.
Yeah.
So I would watch, and I would kind of put in place what I think where we need to go, shots we need to throw, and then I would talk to a mate of mine who's also in Anto's team, Michael. Relay that to him. Sometimes him and me then would go, hey, we're back. Nah, I don't think so. Okay. I like to listen to what Michael has to say too, because Michael's very knowledgeable in terms of boxing. But it usually ends up coming the way. It usually ends up becoming what I kind of envisaged anyway. But he would trust our opinion, and also is that well skilled and that well experienced to know that when he's in there, certain things aren't working. He has that ring intelligence and that experience behind him and that natural ability. This ain't working. He doesn't need to wait till the end of the round to come back to be told it's not working.
Yeah.
He'll make adjustments in there, as most fighters will.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes you'll have to say, listen, this shot is still the one you need, but the setup now needs to be a wee bit different maybe, or like you don't need to be standing in there for that. Take a step back instead. He's falling over his front leg, so there's your money shot.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, or every time he jabs, that hand's coming high. So instead of going to the head with a hook, we'll have to take it to the body now.
Yeah. So there, I think it was Mike Tyson says that it's all good having a game plan, but it changes when you get hit in the face.
Absolutely.
It's like almost like instinct.
Absolutely.
It turns into instinct at that stage, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. But again, it's all about self-control and controlling of the situation. Sometimes you get a good shot in the face and everyone's natural thing is to go, fuck him. And go.
Straight in there, yeah.
Sometimes if you can lose track of your emotions, which is part of the philosophy and the schooling that we put into the kids when they come in to help build them in life, you put yourself in the frame of fighting a man or like fighting someone in a ring, right? No one's jumping in. It's only you and him. There's a referee there, but he's content to leave you alone if he doesn't need to be involved. At the moment, you're controlling everything behind a good jab, or every time you're hitting him, he doesn't like it, he's backing off. But then he does something that lights a fuse in you and you lose your head completely. You lose your temper. So when you lose control of yourself,
the
whole situation's out of control. If you can't stay in charge of you, how do you control or manipulate and dictate what he does? Yeah. And the environment around you?
And just start opening up holes for him.
So that's a big one. So that is where sometimes the strategy is key. Listen, I know you're thinking you can't get them now at the minute, but trust me, stay with it. Yeah. You know, just keep your cool. Just tie him up inside. That's all you need to do. This shot's on its way. Well, it's going to be a round or two. Yeah. Or whatever, but that's how we try. Some of the kids that come in, especially some of the troubled children that we deal with, use boxing as kind of like a metaphor and a philosophy for life. It's helped me. Yeah. Again, I'm confident and 100% in putting it into them because I know it works. Yeah. It works. I know it works. When you know my background and kind of know how I came up and some of the struggles that I got through, boxing was, again, it's only when you're older, boxing was a metaphor and the baseline that kind of married alongside life. And again, so that's what we say to some kids with real like bad tempers. Yeah. You were doing great there until you flipped the lid. Yeah. See, once you lose control of yourself, he's in charge. 100%. You know?
Same way anything in life if you do that.
Exactly. And again, it's another skill that was pitted through an old employment of mine on the doors. I used to say some of that as well to some of the guys I used to work with. Mm-hmm. Like, control yourself, because if you can't, he's in charge. Yeah. The other guy's in charge and that guy's the problem. So yeah. But boxing marries life in a lot of ways. Yeah. It does.
I can understand that. So for the people at home, what is it like then to be part of like a big production like that? Like, he was obviously meant to be on the Fury undercard that fell through. Yeah. Fuck's sake. But obviously the big one at the weekend. Like, what's it like having BT Sport there, interviews, you know, a lot of big names, a lot of local celebs, etc., etc. What's it like for a wee fella from Carrick, as I would say, you know, to be in there amongst that?
It's kind of a weird one. You're good. It's great to be around it. It's brilliant. But over like fight week, there's like a schedule and a program. So there's press conference, public workout, weigh in, interview here, and this and whatever. But on top of that, the fighter's got to make weight.
Yeah.
So everyone's in the hustle and bustle kind of it. It usually takes me, like Saturday happened there, and I'm away here with another kid next Friday, so it could be 3 weeks before I actually kind of go, oh wow. You know, when we defended the British title, it was the same. I came back and I was kind of like, don't know.
Yeah.
And then it was about 2 weeks later, I just like got like full of emotion. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But when we fought for the world title as well, that was kind of like the pinnacle of everything we'd seen. So I had made a deal with myself that on the walkout and stuff, I'm going to take this in a bit more.
Yeah.
Because this was a big guy. I'm going to try and soak this in.
A lot of people in their life could only dream of making that walk, mate.
Yeah.
All them eyes on you.
Yeah. So it was good. Then when you get to the ring, it's kind of like you switch back on. I'm there to do a job. Just like to see him through the fight as best I can. So when the fight's happening, it is class sitting like this. I will say that, like, that wee feeling is good. Like, whoa, sitting on the stairs and everyone is behind you, the cameras and all, and you're going, wow, this is like
real life.
This is it. This is it. But it's one of them, like, I don't know, you could become accustomed to it.
Fuck off.
No,
you become
do.
accustomed to it.
You do. You become accustomed to it. Wembley was class. I mean, when we flew out there, I took myself a wee walk and all one night. Stood at the top of the steps at Wembley in the box and stuff, and all was all over it. I just remember looking down like Wembley walk and all going, wow, that was one of them moments. How did I, like,
you made a kid.
How do you end up here? And then we got up the next morning and his fight was called off. So I was
that was a nightmare, mate. That was a nightmare. I'm fucking sure that plane journey home was shite.
Yeah, oh well, we made the most of it. We made the most of the last couple of days we had anyway there. But
so you ended up in the beers then?
You do? Oh well, we're flipping. We went out and about. We've done a bit of sightseeing around London and stuff, and all. So it was made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
As best we could. But it's good. Funny you say it, you do become kind of it just becomes it's your job. You know, you're in amongst it. It's your job. Now my cousin came up to meet me in Belfast. He had to bring stuff up from the gym at the weekend there, and what you're saying he had.
Right.
Like, come on in, sure, I'll get you breakfast. And with a fight, and he was sitting down like among the fighters and the tea. This is class. So when he goes, you're just sitting there so relaxed, like calm about the whole thing. But it is just one of them. Like, I don't know. I'm a bit of a weirdo in that sense. I kind of know what I'm there to do.
Yeah.
And I don't really pay attention much to what other people are doing or what. I know what I'm there to do, and I just concentrate on that. My main priority when all this is going on is just my fighters at the time.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're my sole priority the whole week. I don't really care for any. It's good, the cameras and all and whatever, but it doesn't really matter so long as they're well, their weight's good, they're strong, fit, ready to go. That's all I'm concerned about.
So just because a lot of the stuff seems to be going on in England, a lot of the big stuff seems to be you go to England, you fight in Wembley or whatever. Like, have we not got anything going on in Ireland? Obviously, Katie Taylor just got beat, but like, is there not really a big scene over here?
We have a lot of talent here.
A lot of amateur stuff going on.
Yeah,
that.
But we even in the pro side, there's a lot of talent here from the top of the country to the bottom, and from the bottom to the top, right across the board on each sides, from the west to the east and the east to the west. There's a pool of talent here in professional boxing, but it's took a bit of a lull at the moment. A couple of the real kind of wee names on the Katie Taylor bill, they all kind of came up short.
Yeah,
they were all kind of beat, which it's part of the game. But then the weekend there that's gone with us, some of the talent on the undercard, you've got Kurt Walker there and Pierce O'Leary, you have wee Willow and Fergus Quinn. You have a whole load of there's this wee pool of guys on the way up, and then you have Anto, you had Michael Conlon there, you had Nick Ball over from England as well, you had Paddy McCrory. So within our own wee area, there's a good talent pool there as well. It's just about we're just where it is at the minute. We need these big shows back in Belfast.
That's what I was just thinking. How do we get people to fight here?
We need them back here. And it's names.
Yeah.
How do you bring a big name back? How do you sell out this? How do you know? How
Money,
do you
money,
bring in?
money,
It all
money,
comes back down to what
money.
we were talking about earlier on. It's all about the business.
Yeah.
So I do the last load of big nights was when Frampton was still it's kind of fighting now where we
Yeah.
kind of need them nights back again. I mean, and there's enough guys there that can be coming through and
100%.
be developed for that. You know,
Even Anto, like,
I d-
why is he not? Why are people not getting on board with him as much as maybe Frampton? Like, is he not getting as much publicity, or what's the crack there?
no, he's not. No,
I don't think he is.
No.
Like,
no. But then it comes down to it again. How do you kind of sell? Trust me when I say this. Like I do outside of boxing, I will go. Anto was one of the people that even outside of boxing and away from all the shit and whatever, I would go to the end of the earth for him. I would die for him, and if World War III kicked off, and it was him or me, I'd put him behind me.
right? Okay.
He literally is just. He doesn't get caught up in the hype of anything or whatever. Anto is like your boy next door. Like what you see with him is what you get.
Yeah.
Very quiet, you know, and just that pushing out persona. It's not him. It's very it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, but the reception being that way, you know, in terms of business, it's maybe not right, but the support, as I say earlier, the support he got.
Yeah.
Like the whole last week. Now finally being at home. That was the first time Anto's fought at home in 8 years.
Madness.
And it was anyone that was there will be able to tell you the same. Like it was real good reception for him at the public workout, at the press conference. The weigh-in was electric, and the night of his fight was electric too.
Yeah.
So it was. But I do hope now that he's in this position. I do hope he gets the breaks that he deserves now.
Yeah.
And that big fight, or them 2 or 3 big fights that he does deserve. And who knows? Headline at home. It's not impossible.
It's definitely not
It's
impossible.
not impossible.
It's a
I
big
mean, as it stands now at the moment, he is the only world champion that we have.
Yep.
Aside from Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
She's doing it for the girls. But in terms of the fellas, male world champions, Anto's the only one there at the minute.
But there's no marketing for that, mate.
I know.
I mean, most people wouldn't know that.
I know there's not.
Which is on Frank
It's
Warren
madness.
there to get his
Yeah.
finger out and start
Yeah.
letting people, especially the people over here, because people love homegrown talent,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, right, we got a world champ, let's get fucking rally behind him.
Yeah.
And then the lads, few beers, get the tickets bought,
Yeah.
and we're up, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we are quick to support our own,
Yeah.
north or south. So if you just push that to people, they'll get on board. But it just seems like maybe it's lacking a little bit. So Frank Warren, get your fucking figure out there and start
I do
promoting.
think there is sometimes there is a lack of movement
Yeah.
from the men in the suits. Like sometimes
They're
you
waiting
know
for
what
you
I
to
mean?
bite someone's ear off or fucking
Yeah.
spit in their face. Now, right, ramp it up.
Yeah,
Facebook
but-
ads, let's go.
I know, but it's mad, and that's some people look for the clickbait to be able to sell things and all and whatever. But look, it's flipping.
Look,
It is,
there's
it's
an
one of them.
influencer boxing match coming up. Iain Mahood wants to hear from you.
Get you on it.
Fuck
Get
yeah, I
on it.
do.
You're on YouTube now.
Show me fucking
Get
numbers.
you on it.
I'll be like, right, what am I fighting at? 65 kilo? Right, sweat it out of me, let's go.
Get you and Dylan on it. No
Ah,
problem.
fuck here.
No problem.
What height is he?
Dylan, what height's Dylan? About 5'5". I think Dylan's about 5'7", 5'8". He's about my height near, about 5'7", 5'8". About 5'8".
Ah, fuck it, I fight him.
There we go. I'll train you in 2 separate times. May the best man win. Huh?
Right, so just the last one I like to ask guests. If you could go back and talk to yourself at 18 years of age, knowing what you know now, what would you say to that young man?
Trust your gut. Don't be afraid of failing. And don't be afraid to jump. You'll land on your feet. Listen to those that kind of speak the same language as you. One thing I've always carried would be everyone's got eyes, but no one watches. Everyone's ears, they hear everything, but no one listens. Listen and watch. If you're in the wrong surroundings, change it. Hold on to the belief and the fiery ambition and desire you have. Don't let it go, regardless of what anyone says, because everyone will always try and get in your road. Because again, it's where their perspective is. They can only see from here. Your visions and your goals, you're driven differently, is up there. So hold on to that. Don't be afraid to jump the wall. It's fine. You'll land on your feet. Sometimes there'll be another wall When you take a wee risk, you jump it. Sometimes you might land in a heap of cow shit. It's all right. When you start walking, the shit falls off. So just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. What you want and what you believe you can achieve, you can.
100%.
And just don't let the bastards grind you down.
Right, everyone out there is world champion trainer Iain Mahood. Thank you, Iain, for coming.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hopefully there's another one to come.
Yeah.